Hi, I'm Rueter-Cox. I am from Consolidated High School District 230. So I'm the Director of Assessment and Data. So I am primarily in charge of any analytics that have to happen within the district, and then obviously all state reporting and state testing. Data touches a lot of areas, which is kind of cool. It really does help us to make those decisions that we're making. Currently, I'm working on some information based on EL students and how are they doing on the access test. What has the trends been so that we can prepare ourselves for this year's access test. We also, District 230 just had a new superintendent put in board in the last 2 years, and we've created a strategic framework. And in all 10 goals, there are 2 action steps. And in each of those action steps, there is data behind each of those as far as metrics that we're measuring to make sure that we're moving forward. So being on top of all of those metrics and knowing where that data is really important, not just for me as the person who pushes out the data, but all of the people who are consuming the data. We looked at a bunch of companies 10 years ago to find a place that was going to be able to pull in what we needed to do. And at that time, Frontline was pretty new as far as student analytics goes, and was building it. And so we had the opportunity to be able to say, hey, this is what we would really like to see. And we've been part of that group since the 10 years now of being able to pull it in. I love the graphics and the fact that it's graphical. Teaching people who are not necessarily math or numbers driven people and asking them to actually analyze data is really difficult. But if you give them a picture, they can tell you what's going on in the picture. So I love the fact that almost everything is in a graph format. We use a great deal of the Frontline products. So we use comparative data, and that is primarily used to see where we're standing against our bigger peers as far as like the big things, state testing and salaries and those kind of things, especially if we go into negotiations. But we probably spend a lot of time, probably more time in student analytics, where we're looking at trends for tardies and period truancies and curricular activities and those kind of things. Late to school tardies skyrocketed after COVID. So as we came back to school, right, students didn't really feel like it was important to be at first hour on time. And so we actually put in a new attendance code just for late to schools. And we looked at it for the entire year. And from that, our assistant principals have gone out to all of the coffee shops in the area and have worked with them to enhance students to not be in line past 7:30 so that they're actually on time at 8 o'clock. And the coffee shops have actually given away, prizes and things for students who are, who have great attendance and they can show their attendance records. So we really worked with our community based on data we were getting that said, this isn't working and how do we fix it? So it's been kind of a cool story when you think about it that, our coffee shops, our Dunkins and our Starbucks for sure, because that's mine, are the ones that are, they'll actually shoo a student out and be like, you're not going to make it on time. Numbers tell a bigger story. And so they tell you what the trends are to be able to do what you need to do next. Numbers don't tell you the whole story. They just tell you, where do you need to look? And I think that's the most important thing, is where do you need to look to be able to make the next improvement?